Guys, I just picked up Ant-Man #1 and I thought I'd give it a go at a review. So the comic basically starts out with Ant-Man in an interview, and he's doing this thing, he's interviewing for a job at Stark International, and it's a really funny scene because this interview is just really weird. He's talking about how he was a good thief, a professional thief, and how he printed the resume at Kinko's and it's double-sided. Just really random and goofy, but it's a good scene. Because he goes out to say how, he was a thief, but he was a thief for a good reason, He stole the suit from Hank Pym to save his daughter who's in the hospital because she was terminally ill, and he did end up saving her, so that's nice. And then he goes on to say how he was in the Avengers, and, he never really lasts anywhere too long, which I don't think that sounds good for an interview, but okay. So basically he goes on to talk to Tony Stark, and he's like, "Hey Tony, what about that job you promised? I would really like it." And Tony's like, "Actually, I think I might have someone else. I'm positive I have someone else who's better than you. But you know what? Since I do owe you, I will let you in on this competition I'm having for the job, and let's see where it goes from there. If you win, then yeah, I'll give you the job. But if not, then oh well." But after this scene, he happens to walk by his daughter's middle school and walks her home. And this is a really nice scene. It's actually really heartfelt. They're talking about how he bought her tickets to the movie, like her favorite movie, Battle Royale or something. And, his inner monologue is really what takes the scene home. He's talking about, I may not be the best husband or really the best father or the best person in general. He's been in jail, he stole stuff, just everything. But if this scene makes anything clear, he's a good father. He really does care about her. He takes her out. He enjoys what she's saying. He listens to her. And she likes him. You could tell. It's a mutual feeling. It's really great. But, the only problem with this, his ex-wife really does not like him. But, after this, he goes through the competition. And it's really funny because most of the contestants are like 18 or 20 years old. So, like, extremely young. Like, younger than him. And Tony makes a point of saying, "You're like the oldest person here," but I'm pretty sure Tony's older than Scott Lang, so whatever about that. But it's pretty much an obstacle course, and the last obstacle is a computer program that's supposed to hack or break into with a code, but none of them are able to do it. And then it gets to Scott Lang as the final try, and he knows he can't do it, but instead of like saying he can't do it, he fakes being sick and throws up in his helmet, and he's like, "Oh man, I gotta leave," and Tony Stark just looks at him. But since he's not able to break into it, later in the comic he decides to break into Tony Stark's apartment to steal the code to win. But I mean, I don't know if that's professional or not, but it surely does get results. So during this scene, he's trying to get it from Iron Man's helmet and download the code into this like little portable Nintendo system, it looks like. But yeah, the only problem here is Tony Stark walks in with the new Beetle, which was in the competition as well. So he's like, "Oh no, she's trying to sleep with him to get the code, And he's trying not to get caught this whole time, and he's like, "Why did this happen again?" So I mean, that was really funny too. But after this, he does end up downloading the code. The only problem is when he gets down and he's like, the little Game Boy thing, the Nintendo system, whatever, flashes, "Congrats, congrats," and confetti falls from the sky, and he's really confused, like, what's going on? So he goes back up to normal size, and Tony Stark's waiting for him like he was expecting him. And he's like, Scott Lang is scared, like, "Please don't let this affect me winning the competition. Please don't kick me out. I need this job." And Tony's like, "Hey man, don't worry. I wanted this to happen. I needed someone who got the job done, who found any ways, the easy ways, the lazy way, whatever, to get the job done and get results." And that's what he did, and he got results. So after this, he gives him the job, gives him an apartment, and he has what he needs to support his family. The only problem is the new Beetle wasn't there to sleep with Tony for the code. She was there as a hired assassin. But Ant-Man saves Tony's life, and it works out in his favor. So Tony basically disappears along with Blue Beetle after this, and Scott appears at his ex-wife's house, and he's going to tell the good news, but she's packing, and she's like, "Hey, your daughter's in Florida. I moved her because it's not good for her here. This place is dangerous, villains, superheroes, it's just not good." Man, And yeah, Scott Lang is definitely taken by surprise, and he's like, you can't do this to me. I'm her father. And she's like, I understand, but it's just it's really a deep scene. It's just pretty sad, but after this, you see him on the plane, and he's going to Florida instead of an expo to meet with Stark to be presented as the new head of security. And Stark's pretty pissed, but he ends up in Florida, and he ends up going to like this toy store and buys a small like Tony Stark Iron Man Sunrise apartment playset. And he takes it near the daughter's house, and he shrinks them both down. And he ends up like sitting there with her, just talking, and they watch this movie called Battle Royale, which was their favorite movie. It's a really nice scene, it's cool that he remembers what she likes, and it's just really heartfelt. It shows how good of a dad he is. And overall, I really enjoyed this comic. It was funny, it had action, it was heartfelt. It was everything. It was a really good, strong first issue, and I would give it a 9 out of 10.